What is up, everybody? Welcome to Courageously Encouraged. I'm so happy that you're here today. You're joining me. You're checking this video out. I think you're really going to be blessed by this one, so I'm glad that you're tuning in, that you're here to listen. Today, we're going to talk about anxiety. We're going to talk about a vision that I had when I was a little kid. One of my first encounters with God that was like so supernatural, so crazy. I can't even explain it because of the effects of it. So nobody can tell me that it wasn't God, because there's a before and after because of this supernatural event. And it's lasted till my life today. So basically I had a vision, and shout out to Tira. I'm going to link all her stuff in the description because she made this really amazing animation that really closely and really greatly depicts the vision I had when I was like 4, 5, 6. I can't remember how old it was, but it was in elementary school. So before I hop into all that, the first thing I want to share with you is, I know with coronavirus going on right now, I know that these times are really a time where a lot of people have a lot of anxiety and a lot of stress. I know there's like a lot of talk about that people's stress levels and anxiety levels are really high. I mean, my own stress levels and anxiety levels right now are like through the roof because it's so hard for me to be in isolation. I'm an extrovert. I thrive. I love being around a lot of people. It's like my favorite thing. I get re-energized from being around other people. I know that's not the case for everybody, but it's the case for me. So being in isolation, being in quarantine, being away from everyone, I just started at OSU. I can't even go on campus like that. That's a bummer, So it's been a really tough, quarantine and isolation, social distancing, all that stuff is like tough for me. I don't like to be socially distant. I like to hug people. I like to, mess with people. So it's definitely been tough. So a lot of these anxiety things have been coming up even in myself that I used to deal with as a little kid. And so this transitions me to the verse that I want to share with you today before I get into the vision, before I get into everything else. And that's Philippians 4. I think it's like 6 through 9. And so the first part says, be anxious for nothing, but in everything, by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be known to God. Then the peace of God that transcends all understanding. This is a peace that the world does not know about. This is a peace that only God can give you. It transcends all understanding. The peace of God that transcends all understanding will guard your heart and your mind through Christ Jesus. So God's gonna give you so when you have anxiety, don't be anxious about anything. Everything that you are anxious about, take it to the Lord with prayer, supplication, thanksgiving. Say, God, I'm going to believe and thank you right now before I've been delivered from my anxiety for what you're going to do, because I know the kind of God that you are. And God's going to throw, he's just going to toss some of that peace on you. Not worldly peace, not some meditation, Buddhist stuff. We're talking about some peace that transcends all understanding. I've felt it. I've experienced that peace. And I hope that you have too. And if you haven't, pray for it and ask God for it, and he will give it to you. Philippians 4, 6 through 7. And then you'll be able to, it's a peace that will guard your heart and your mind. Because we know that in our heart and our minds where anxiety gets us so much, we get in these loops in our head and our hearts get so sorrowful, because of what we're going through. So he's going to, now, then he gives you a bit of advice, and I think it's Philippians 4:9. It's like the next verse after this. And it says, finally, whatever is true, whatever things are just, whatever things are noble, whatever things are pure, whatever things are lovely, whatever things are of good report, if there's any virtue, or if there's anything praiseworthy, meditate on those things. A lot of times in our situations, the reason anxiety gets us is we get so focused on what we're going through and we start worshiping the situation we're in instead of worshiping God. And basically we get so focused, how is this going to work out? How is this going to work out? When is coronavirus going to end? When can we go back to normal? Are we ever going to go back to normal? Are we ever going to have to stop wearing masks? You get in this loop, and it's so toxic, and it's not what God wants you to do. He wants you to meditate on good, noble, just, lovely, pure, praiseworthy, good report, virtuous things. So keep your mind on those things and ask God for that peace that will transcend all understanding. So now moving into, just want to take you on a real quick flashback. So when I was in elementary school, I used to deal with anxiety, like panic attacks. I used to have nightmares every night that I was going to have I was gonna die. I was like seeing a psychiatrist for my ADHD, but also a lot of these dream things would come up. And I mean, like if a storm came, I thought I was gonna die. It was bad. Like I was really suffering from a lot of anxiety even as a little kid, which is crazy. And so I used to go to the YMCA, which is like where I would go every summer. And, you know, growing up in Florida, a crazy thunderstorm would come out of nowhere. And so this was one of those days I was at the YMCA, a thunderstorm just came out of nowhere. Crazy thunderstorm, just black. When you know when the clouds like almost like blue, like blackish blue, crazy. It was like one of those days. Then they call them supercells. I don't know. I'm not a meteorologist. If you are a meteorologist, let me know in the comments below. Anyways, so I immediately go to this place of anxiety. Like, I'm going to die. A tornado's going to come. It's going to kill me. And I'm in the corner crying. Like I said, probably 3rd, 4th, 5th, somewhere in there. Because I only really went to YMCA in elementary school. And then everything went black. I couldn't hear anybody. I couldn't see anything. It was completely black. It was completely silent. And then a light like shining on this book. And when the book was open, I began to see these shadowy, like dark figures start to attack the book. And after a little bit of time, they started ripping the pages, they started tearing the book up. Basically a big light, like a force field, like an explosion, just like a shining light, just basically casted them all away, fixed the book, returned the book back to, you know, the way that it was. And basically they were not allowed to attack this book anymore. And then I came back from this vision, you know, this event, this supernatural event that happened in my life, and I wasn't scared. I don't know how to explain it. I wasn't scared, and I didn't have another panic attack like ever again. I mean, there's maybe been like a few isolated cases, like in the last because I was what, like 6? I'm 27, like 20 something years. I've had like maybe one panic attack, and that was when I was having my surgeries, and there was a lot of medicine going on in me, and it was a weird time. But other than that, like, I've dealt with some anxiety, but not even close to that. We've all dealt with anxiety, but I'm talking about having panic attacks, thinking I was going to die, not being able to breathe, nightmares, all this stuff. Boom. Had this vision as a little kid. Didn't even really, like, I was being taken to church as a kid, but I wasn't, like, praying to God every day, like, you know what I'm saying? It's not like now where you make that conscious decision, like, I'm going to follow the Lord. And you know what I'm saying? It's like you're just being brought to church because you're a little kid. And I had this supernatural event that, like, cured my anxiety and my panic attacks. And I'll never forget it till today. And so what I want to wrap all this video up with is, you know, I just want to sympathize with you all and just tell you, like, I've been dealing with a lot of anxiety the last month or so. You know, I've been under a lot of pressure, and I just want you to know that, like, God is going to come through for you. You know, I'm basically working on this publication for OSU. I'm working on this internship. I was studying for my qualification exams, and you know, like my long distance girlfriend finally got here, so I wanted to spend more time with her. So there's been a lot of pressure to do a lot of stuff, and you know, the quals are so if you fail them, they like kick you out of the program. So it's like there's so much pressure on me, and I'm like, God, I don't think this is gonna work out. I don't think this is gonna happen. I had so much anxiety, and it's like I just kept praying. I kept getting up every day and just trying to believe. And I said, God, you're gonna make a way somehow. And basically, somehow, some way, they decided to postpone the qualification exams to January. And I'm just like, Lord, like, why do I even ever just doubt you even a little bit? You always show up for me. And so then I began to, like Philippians 4 says, with prayer and supplication, just give God, you know, the things that I'm going through. Ask God for that peace. And he gave it to me again this week. You know, it's been probably like a few weeks since I've been really in a nice peace, just been really frantic trying to get stuff done. But he gave me that peace. And basically, then there's a problem. I was working on the internship, and I never thought I was going to get this done. And then somehow, like a few days after the postponement of the quals, I started getting the answer right. And my advisor, who, you know, he's happy with my work, and he's like telling me I'm doing a good job and that I'm proving his doubts wrong. And I mean, like, so this video is just meant to show you, number one, that God works in supernatural ways. He is powerful, And it doesn't really matter where you are in your life. He can speak to you and he can work through you. And that too, there's nothing that you truly, like, I'm not trying to downgrade anything that you're going through, but the Bible says don't be anxious about anything. So it doesn't matter how bad your situation is. Don't be anxious about it. It literally gives us instructions by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving. Don't complain to God. Bring your request to him, pray to him, and thank him before you see them. And then keep your mind focused on those heavenly things, those amazing things, those things that are just, pure, noble, praiseworthy. Meditate on those things. Don't meditate on Corona. Don't watch the news 24/7. You know what I'm saying? You're going to get in this toxic mindset, and it's not going to be the peace that you need to get through what God is trying to do through you, because God has amazing plans for each of you. And anxiety is something that's going to try to cripple, and it's going to try to take away from that, and it's going to keep you from doing what God has for you. I know God has this PhD for me, and I was beginning to let anxiety make me think, man, I'm not cut out for the PhD program. I'm not going to get this PhD. But no, what God has blessed, no man can curse. What God's plan is, just surrender to it and believe it and trust that he's going to do it. And so I love you guys. I'm thankful. I hope this video helped you. Once again, thank you to Tira. What an animation. I'm so thankful for that. So I love y'all. Y'all have a great day. See ya.